Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video I will be talking about Far Cry 5. This is my first ever review video, so it might be a bit choppy. I'm sorry if it is. This video contains spoilers, so if you haven't played Far Cry 5 but you still want to play spoiler free, I recommend not watching this video. I will be talking a little bit about the end, for example, so yeah, if you haven't played yet but you want to, I recommend not watching. Far Cry 5 is set in a fictional place called Hope County. It is set in a fictional region of Montana in the USA. It doesn't actually exist, as far as I know. You start the game hearing and actually getting to know about Joseph Seed, which is called the Father. Actually, you will hear him say that he is a father. He is basically, connection to God, stuff like that. He's an absolute lunatic. I will say that right off the bat. And you actually get an insight in his cult, which he is leading, called Eden's Gate. Which basically they believe that the end is near, the world is gonna be doomed, and they're nuts. They're absolutely insane. So you yourself are playing as Rook, a deputy sheriff, whose job is basically to arrest the father for his cult, business and stuff like that. He's a real shady man, so you have to arrest him. You're assisted by a deputy or a sheriff, basically, another agent, I guess. It's never really said what they are, but you have a marshal, a sheriff, and a pilot, and there's another girl. I have no idea what her role is, but she was there. So, of course, nothing goes to plan. You can, of course, stay for the secret ending and not arrest him, but if you do arrest him, your plane basically crashes. He has the person on the radio in control. His plane crashes because his cult is basically dragging you out. And nothing goes as planned. You're basically fleeing real fast. I need to admit that in the beginning I had some trouble with this mission right off the bat. It was actually difficult. And I don't even remember if you have like difficulty settings, but it was not that easy to get away. For me at least. But I'm a special person. So you're fleeing. And as you're fleeing, you see the marshal gets captured by Joseph and his children, basically. And you yourself are getting dragged away. You are slipping in and out of consciousness, basically, as it is happening. You are rescued, actually, by Dutch. He has an island. He lives on there in a sort of bunker more. And Eden's Gate is all over the place on that island and on the whole, basically on the whole region. They're dominating. So Dutch actually sets you out to repair the radio tower and actually get rid of Eden's Gate on this island. And from there on out, you start your journey. Now, I thought the story was quite interesting, to be honest. I mean, the whole idea of a cult run on religion was actually really, I think, smart idea. I feel like this could actually happen in real life, for example. Maybe not as bad as it happened there, but it is something that could absolutely, get out there. One thing I will say is basically that the story, how it is built, is actually really nice. The gameplay feels really nice as well. It actually runs pretty smooth in my opinion. I had no problems with the controls, except maybe for driving. Your default is basically, if you play this on the PS4 at least, your default is set to R2 to drive. Now I'm usually doing that in any game. But the truth is, it doesn't actually work. At least it didn't work for me. I pressed R2 and I just wasn't going fast, like at all. I was just, even in the fastest car, I was just running slow. This might have been a bug. This might have been just my game. I don't know if it was a thing for everyone or not. But I had one issue with that, for example. But other than that, the driving was pretty smooth. The gameplay feels pretty smooth. Like I said, the graphics looks amazing. I mean, they look amazing. You can see it in the background right here. Like the nature feels real. One issue I had with the story, however, is that the ending was really disappointing. I'm just gonna cut to it. The truth is, the ending is really underwhelming. You go through his children first. You go through John C., which is basically a torturer. He's there to see your sins. He was really easy to beat. I think I actually got him stuck in a glitch as well, which is of course something that Far Cry always had. I remember playing Far Cry 4 and I just saw more people getting, killed by their own people than I was doing, almost. In Far Cry 5, that is definitely still a thing. I honestly think that is a little bit part of Far Cry. I don't know why, but it's just that one game that I just have fun in. Then you have his second son, which is Jacob Seed, and he is an ex-military. His boss battles basically were really tough. You get captured basically by everyone 3 times, or 4, I don't know, 3 or 4 times. And every single time you had to do, for Jacob, is time trials. With John, you actually had a conversation with him. You didn't really get any mission from him, basically. But in Jacob's situation, you had time trials. You had to kill like the amount of people and then make it in the time. Now, of course, on your screen you're killing them, but in reality you're killing your own people. You're basically hallucinating. You were, I don't know, mind fucked. But I had such trouble with the last time trial on Jacob. It took me maybe 4 times to actually do it. It wasn't that much, but I had trouble with it. And then you have Faith, which, Faith Seed. I mean, honestly, she wasn't even that bad. And while Faith wasn't that bad, her minions were actually worse. She basically runs the whole Bliss operation, so basically the meth in the country. And honestly, her minions are called angels, and they hit like crazy. They're really strong. They're stronger. They're faster. Everything. It almost feels like they're mutants, you know. And I think that's maybe the issue I had with Faith, is just her minions. But Faith is herself, she was basically taken in on the family. You know, the father, aka, saved her. And I felt really bad in the end for killing her, because she was just taken in. She wanted to belong, and, you know, you kill her. And actually, that's the only person I actually felt bad for. And then you go through all this. Takes actually some time sometimes to actually get through it all. Because you have to save your friends as well. I think Joseph or Jacob. No, not Joseph, sorry. Jacob or John's bunker was really hard to get through. So in one you save Ramirez, which is basically a girl. The girl that I was talking about, that you don't even know what she does, but that bunker was really tough to beat, I'm not gonna lie. The rest was all pretty decent. Now, like I said, you go through all this, and then you get to Joseph Seed. So, Joseph Seed is actually really strong, but his mission wasn't that hard. I struggled, but it wasn't really that hard. So, you have, throughout the game, you also get guns for hire and fangs for hire. Now, I absolutely love the fangs for hire, because they're animals. Obviously, fangs, you know. And, you know, these guns for hire are really great as well. You have like a sniper called Grace. You have a bow user, a bowwoman, I guess, more, called Jess, which is actually my favorite in the game. She hits all those. You know, from a distance, everything, she hits those. You have also Nick Rye, which is a pilot. A really good one, actually. And he has a strafing, run, and a bombing ability. Now, I use Nick and Jess probably the most, next to the fangs for hire, which are Cheeseburger, a bear who actually loves cheeseburgers. He's just a tank, man. You see him on the battleground, and he just runs at everyone. You have Boomer, which is a dog, which I never really used that much, because in the beginning he's great. Boomer tags enemies, for example, and he actually brings you guns. But later on in the game, you don't really need that as much anymore. At least I didn't. I love the dog, but like I didn't need it. And you have Peaches, which is a puma. Or a cougar. Sorry, a cougar. Not a puma. And she is really based on stealth. Like, she actually goes unnoticed. She can actually sneak at enemies, you know. But I didn't really use her as much either. Honestly, I used Cheeseburger probably the most, because he's just a tank, a massive bear on the battleground. Peaches and Boomer were nice, but I never really used them that much. For Outpost, however, Cheeseburger is just he's not good. He's absolutely not good because he rushes in there and you get detected real easily. One thing I will say real fast is that I'm really disappointed that Boomer can't actually get in your truck or your car. Like, for example, a dog could. If a bear or a cougar can get in your truck, I mean, like, okay. But a dog, I figure, he can be in the passenger seat, but they never go in. He never goes in your car. But, you gather all these animals, all these people, and you have to face them in the end as well. So, you basically are hallucinating. You are facing Jacob, or Jacob, gosh. Joseph, Jacob, John, all these J's, man. Joseph C. You basically face the father, and he throws these hallucinations of your friends basically at you. And it's pretty much chaos because you have to throw grenades, do molotovs, and all these things. Eventually, you beat, the father, but it is a hassle to go through. I need to admit, it was one of the more tough missions for sure. And then basically you have 3 endings, and I just don't understand that so much. So in Far Cry 3, you have a choice. In Far Cry 4, you have a choice of killing Pagan Man or, walking away. In Far Cry 5, you basically also have a choice. You can still arrest him or kill him or whatever, but no, you arrest him basically after all. Or not, but there are still different endings too. And of course, I got one of the worst ones. Now here's the big spoiler. Basically, one ending is that the world is actually being, destroyed. The apocalypse actually happens. Now, of course, that is really weird. Like, you don't expect it. But of course, it's kind of a Far Cry thing to do, to be honest. The ending I got was basically I arrested the father, or I left him alone. I don't even know anymore. But we went home, and as you are driving home, the song that Jacob uses to hallucinate you, only you, starts playing on the radio, and you start losing control, and you kill everyone in the car. And you don't see it happening, but like it happens. And there is another ending. I kind of forgot what it was. It wasn't really that important as far now as I know, but it was kind of underwhelming because you have all this build up to this big mission. The mission itself was pretty cool. Then you got the ending, and I was really disappointed. I'm not gonna lie, I was really, really disappointed. Now I heard the DLC, the New Dawn game, adds up to that, comes after it, but I never played that. Honestly, Far Cry 5 was really good until like the ending for me. Like I had a ton of fun. Like I streamed it a lot and like I had so much fun, and then the ending came and I went on like a 30-minute rant on how it was so horrible. One other thing that I really hated was the money issue. Now, I heard that if you hunt and fish, you can actually earn a lot. I never really stopped to do that. Because the truth is, you have all these missions, you have side quests, stuff like that. But money was a real big issue for me. Especially in the beginning. Like, you have also these prepper stashes, which are basically bunkers filled with loot. Like skill points you get from it, you get money from it, you get ammo. But after all, I just feel like that was just yeah, here you still have money options. But like, the people that you kill, for example, didn't really drop a lot. In Far Cry 4, I'm just taking this as an example, but the enemies that you killed also dropped like items for inventory and stuff like that. In Far Cry 5, they didn't really do that. Like in Far Cry 4, you could just sell all these items and get a lot of money. In Far Cry 5, you actually had to work for it. And I think maybe that's the thing I really didn't like, because you actually had to buy all these weapons. And like I said, especially in the beginning, that's a huge issue. Like later on, you can just pick up an LMG and just keep it that way, but like in the beginning, you don't have anything. And I think that was a real big issue for me. And one other issue that I really had, like these are the negatives right now, but like overall the game was pretty okay. But basically, in Far Cry 3, you have a character, you have a name, you have a face, Far Cry 4 as well. Far Cry 5 doesn't have it. You have this customization, but you never even see your person. You have all this customization of face and hair and like clothing, but you don't even see it. So I never understood why that was a thing for that. But then on the same side, they didn't add any voice. Like, you're basically mute the entire time. You don't even have a name. You're called Rook the whole time. Rookie, you know, like you're sheriff deputy. You don't even have a name. And I thought that was really one of my biggest issue, because I didn't really feel like I was really in the game. I felt like I was watching someone else play. And I think that was my biggest issue on it. Of course, Far Cry also had some bugs, like I said earlier. For example, I saw people kill each other, you know, on the same team. One bug that I had, I will show you the clip, but that was pretty, I mean, it wasn't really game breaking, but it was really frustrating. The mission was basically to get a snitch of the Eden's Gate on a boat to rescue him. First, you have to defend him for like 5 minutes, which was also really hard, because you face all these enemies and then suddenly there's heavies coming in. You're low on ammo, heavy, you know, coming in. It's really hard sometimes, but I managed that, and I had to get him on a boat. And I had some issues. There's literally rebels here, and they're not helping me. Hello? Yeah, right here. What do you mean? You did him on the boat. What? Dude! But I put him on the boat. And he just kept not going in the boat. And then he drowned. I can't. Oh, are you serious right now? But overall, honestly, Far Cry 5 was a pretty decent game. The graphics, the game itself looked and played really well. Only problem I had was the ending and some bugs, maybe for you like little issues, but for me it was really game breaking in my opinion. Like, for example, I really wish I had a voice, you know, that was talking to the people. But this is all personal preference and stuff like that. If you love, you know, if you hated the voice acting, the voices, then of course I absolutely understand if you like this game. Overall, I would rate it like a 7 out of 10. Mainly because of the story's ending being really underwhelming, and mainly because of like the little issues that it had. But I do recommend playing it. Maybe also the DLC. Like I said, I never played that, so I don't know if it adds up to the story like everyone is saying or not. But I can say Far Cry 5 wasn't horrible. I need to admit that the co-op, for example, which it also has, I totally forgot to mention that, but it has co-op, and I never tried it, but it seems fun, you know, like you can actually play with friends. That I think that's a real big plus as well for it. So yeah, honestly, I think 7 out of 10 is pretty decent for Far Cry 5. So yeah, honestly, yeah. That's it, really. I don't really have much more to say. I mean, like, we want to have a story, the characters. I hope you guys liked the review. If not, of course, let me know. I mean, it's all personal preference. And I think, you know, after all, that really matters the most. Do I recommend playing it? Yeah, I do. Because it is still a Far Cry game, you can still have a lot of fun in it. If you want to fish, go ahead. Do it for like a few hours, honestly. Be my guest. Overall, I think it was a pretty decent game. So hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching this review. Yeah, have a nice day, nice evening, wherever you are, and I'll see you guys in the next video.